Well, Marianne, you are running for chair of the Democratic National Committee. The Democrats lost control of Senate and White House. How can you turn it around?
Well, we need a radical transformation from the inside out. We have a tremendous phenomenon on our hands. President-elect Trump has created I often refer to it as a collective adrenaline rush. He has a tremendous sway, tremendous psychological and emotional sway. He's created a movement of unprecedented nature. And in order to counter that and to sort of break the free fall for the Democrats over the next 2 years, we're going to have to create a phenomenon ourselves. We want a new House, a new Senate, and a new president. We're going to have to become a Democratic Party. And I think that the Democratic Party at its best should be the keeper of the story. The DNC should be the keeper of the great American story. We have at times been the best that the world has to offer, and at times we've been some of the worst that the world has to offer. And that struggle is the embodiment of what it means to be an American, always working to protect the best of what we represent, to expand the franchise of the best of what we represent, and also to push back against any systems of injustice that might prevail at any given time. Now, we've done that. We pushed back against slavery. We pushed back against the institutional suppression of women. America has had some very good chapters. We've always ultimately done the right thing. You know, Churchill once said, you can always count on Americans to do the right thing after they've exhausted every other option. So the Democratic Party needs to be, at this time, the container for the pushback against systems of injustice. But we also need the American people to be able to feel that. We need to reconnect the American people, not only with the Democratic Party, but with that great American story and with a sense that politics can make a difference. So I feel as chairman of the Democratic National Committee, I can help inspire. We're not going to defeat the forces of MAGA and the Trump forces. And he is the duly elected president, don't get me wrong, but so much of what he represents that we do not agree with will not be defeated just by fighting. We're going to override all that by inspiring the American people to the next great chapter of our history. And that is what I feel I could help make happen as the head of the DNC.
Because it's interesting, isn't it, seeing people fleeing from the Democratic Party, and not only voters, but people like RFK Jr., who I know that you have mentioned that he's a good choice for Donald Trump moving into US Secretary of Health and Human Services. So why do you think it's like people like RFK Jr., Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, to name a few high-profile people that have changed from the Democrats to the Republicans? And I know we've spoken before, you said you wouldn't change to a Republican, but seeing the likes of RFK Jr., for example, who you think is a good choice for Donald Trump.
Well, don't forget, Janie, Bobby Kennedy Jr. tried to run as a Democrat. We didn't have to. The idea that the Republicans are now seen as the great celebrants of preventative medicine and fighting the worst aspects of big pharma, it's like a horrifying failure on the part of the Democratic Party. This should never have been allowed to happen. And so this is when we let get away, as it were. And of course, he just took his toys and he went right over there. As you pointed out, I would not do that because I just do not have. I'm not in alignment. I'm not in agreement politically with the policies of Donald Trump for the most part. You know, when it comes to health, what we really need is what you guys have. We need universal health care like every other advanced nation. We need the same kind of situation as you have in Australia when it comes to tuition-free college and tech school. You have a very good system. So Americans have been trained to expect too little. And when we look at countries like yours, we look at countries in Europe and other advanced nations, I think it's time for Americans to rise up and to demand the same, some of the same what we would call rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness that they have in other nations such as yours.